Hey kings and queens and everything in between. Welcome to this episode of a Sip with Samad podcast. And I'm your host, Samad. Let's jump in.
Welcome to what I'm going to call a reflective sip episode. And excuse my appearance. This is not a typical episode, of course, as I look really rough. I have not shaved and I'm okay with that. But I wanted to come on and more recently, I guess when this airs, it will be a while following the tragic death of well-known actor, musician, artist, Malcolm-Jamal Warner. He passed tragically drowning July 28th in Costa Rica. And, you know, the reason why I wanted to record this was because there was so much, you know, it's you don't really think about the impact that artists have on your lives, right? And it wasn't until I saw how much the passing of Malcolm-Jamal Warner or his death really impacted our people. And when I say our people, I mean Black people. And while other people could have been impacted as well, I can't speak for them. I can only speak for how his role as Theo, right? And so many other countless roles, right? Let's not just limit him to that, but so many other countless roles, how they impacted, you know, our lives. What was interesting is I called my grandmother and we were talking about something that had nothing to do with this. But in our conversation, you know, she was like, Theo died. And it was like, damn, even my grandmother knows him as Theo. Like, we all know him as Theo, right? And so then it started to take me down this rabbit hole of, well, who is Theo, right? Theo, while a character on the Cosby show, represented so much of the Black male experience that we did not see. Right? Theo was the everyday dude. Theo was, you know, he wasn't the geek, but he was kind of corny, but kind of cool at the same time. Theo was the first person that I saw who, as a Black male on TV, right, who was my age, or not my age, but I guess the age that I was relatively closer to, right, than being an adult. Or something that I aspired to, maybe more so. I remember the episode where he talked about being dyslexic. And I remember that vividly because I can remember at the time I was in an after school program and there was an after school teacher who I guess was trying to convince my mother that I was dyslexic. I wasn't dyslexic, but I was just bored, right? And I had attention deficit disorder. And as a result of that, would get bored after doing my work, right? Or would just like focus in on other things outside of the work. But I knew about dyslexia from watching that episode of the Cosby show and seeing how it impacted Theo. That was the first time, like, you know, and I think that that's a strong something there, right? Because once again, I go back to there were limited depictions of the Black male I wanted to be or saw myself being, but Theo was one of them. And that's why I think it hit so hard for me and many others within our community because of the fact that this was somebody we knew. Like, Theo was the cousin that all the hood cousins respected and looked out for. Theo was the respectable cousin, the one that, you know, Theo might have been the goody cousin to those hood cousins, right? But they still loved him and dared anybody to try him. Theo was artistic. Theo was clever and smart once he actually, you know, was able to conquer and understand his limitations and how to navigate the world. Theo was me, right? Like that, like, and once again, I think everyone has a connection to that character. And while I recognize that that wasn't who Malcolm-Jamal Warner was in real life. His character will forever help inspire so many others like myself to be different. I just want to give a special shout out to our brother who we've lost, but also take this time to thank him for the inspiration that he has had on not just my lives, but I think on so many lives. I mean, I would be interested to know, how were you impacted by not just his role as Theo, but any of the roles that he's played? Like, I mean, I was there when he opened up for Floetry one year here in Atlanta. I didn't even know he was like an artist in a sense. I think he did some spoken word and opening up, but yeah, it's just a dope all around artist and being. So rest in peace, and also sending continued thoughts and prayers to his family at this time of loss. Until next time, y'all, I'm out.